Nova is a character that I haven't played as much as I wanted to, and he's actually always been on my list to play more. If you've heard me talk about this before, you know that the cosmic side of Marvel is my favorite part about Marvel. So I'm really hoping at some point we get more of the cosmic characters. And Nova is one of the few that we have at this point, and I haven't really played him all that much. So I wanted to fix that. So that I think is really cool about Nova is his interaction with the helmet. His ability says response after you use one of Nova's basic powers, thwart, attack, or defense, you get to ready the Supernova helmet. And Supernova helmet gives you the aerial trait and has a hero resource to exhaust it and generate a wild resource. So essentially, you can use the resource from Supernova helmet to play a card, and then you use basic power, ready up the Supernova helmet, and then you exhaust it again. So his stat line is a little bit low to compensate for how much resources he has, but it's not weak at all. And on the alter ego side, you can spend a resource of any type to search your deck and discard power for the Supernova helmet and add it to your hand, and put it into play instead if you used a wild. And then if you look at all of his events, he has a lot of synergies with wild resources. So he has 3 copies of Pot Shot, which is a 2-cost event that lets you double the number of wild resources generated while paying for this card. So that means that your helmet generating 1 wild resource counts for 2 and just pays for your Pot Shot, which is a 2 for 4 damage, which turns into essentially a 1 to 4 when you get to use a wild resource. And then he has that theme going on the whole time here. So the Lightspeed Flight is his thwart event, which same thing. 2 costs, removes 3 threat from a scheme, and doubles if you use a wild. And then Force Field Projection is his defense one. Instead of doubling, though, it's a 1-cost card, and you prevent 3 damage. So when a friendly character would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent 3 of that damage. And if you paid for this card using a wild resource, you deal 3 damage as well. So you get like an extra bonus for using a wild resource there. And then he has Unleash the Nova Force, which is like this big combo he can do where until the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, ready Nova and draw 1 card. He has 2 copies of that. And then his ally, Miss Marvel, after you play an event, exhaust Miss Marvel and deal 1 damage to her, and then you get to return that event to your hand. So you get to play them multiple times. And he has 2 copies of Connection to the World Mind, which I think is one of the coolest cards in the game. It's just a wild resource, but it says Connection to the World Mind does not count towards your hand size. And also, there's all that wild resource synergy that he has going on. So I wanted to build a deck that goes around all that. I guess I should mention Jesse Alexander first. So his last hero-specific card he has is Jesse Alexander, 2-cost support, persona. Exhaust Jesse Alexander, shuffle 1 copy of Connection to the World Mind from your discard pile into your deck, and draw 1 card as an alter ego action. So I wanted to build a deck on theme of what I've been talking about, of something that supports the hero, to where I feel like I'm playing Nova. I'm not playing just a deck archetype. I'm playing specifically Nova, so I wanted to have every card that I add try to complement that in some way. And you can see from all of his cards here that he really, really likes wild resources, and the only cards that he has that cost more than just 1 wild resource to pay for is Miss Marvel and Jesse Alexander. So that immediately, to me, signals that I want to lean into that. And another thing, if you watch my Shuri video, you'll notice that I said I prefer more expensive cards, like 2 and 4 cost and 0 cost. There's a lot of 1-cost cards, and these are essentially 1-cost cards here because you can use the wild. So I want to turn that, since I said I didn't like that, but I'm excited about Nova, and I think he does it really unique. I'm going to make that a big theme of this deck that I'm doing. So to do that, I wanted to add these resource cards. They're wild resources. The aggressive energy says, hero interrupt when you spend this card to play an attack event. That event deals 1 additional damage, and it's a wild. So that can combo really well with his Pot Shot. This is a wild resource that just says after you spend this card, deal 1 damage to the villain. And again, they're all wilds, so they'll be able to help with meeting all of these requirements and getting extra bonuses. And you'll notice I did not add the 3 basic double resources or Power of Aggression because I didn't really add any expensive cards in the deck, as you'll see. And I think this is maybe my the card I'm most excited to play because I haven't really used this at all. Resourceful is a 1-cost basic upgrade. It says discard Resourceful and generate a wild resource. And most heroes don't really want to do this. But for Nova, just having the wild resource is really good. And then when I discard it to generate a wild resource, I'm essentially turning it into a double resource. So I can either use it like normal, get all the bonuses from my cards, or like store double resources for future turns on maybe my Unleash the Nova Force turn. So I'm really looking forward to using this card with Nova. And it's a card that, again, I haven't used that much. So Nova utilizing it here really feels like I'm leaning into the hero kit in a way that I enjoy a lot. And we have 3 copies of Pitchback, which is a 1-cost attack event that you can only play if you have the aerial trait, which I'll get the aerial trait from my helmet. A hero spawns attack after your hero attacks, deal 4 damage to an enemy. So that's good, and I can just pay for it with this 1-cost resource generator, or with the rest of these cards that I added. And then this is an event that I've always really liked. I just really, really like the art on it. It reminds me of a Yu-Gi-Oh card, like those like kind of zany trap cards that you'd flip up. I think there's one in Yu-Gi-Oh specifically that has that like fist on the spring that this card just brings me back to that. And also it's really fun because it's a 1-cost card that lets you deal 2 damage to an enemy, and if you defeat that enemy, deal 2 damage to an enemy. And again, I want to be defeating enemies here with Unleash the Nova Force. So this just sounds fun for Nova and fits with my cheap attack events that don't require me to use double resources. I have Keep Up the Pressure here, which, when defeated, each player may search the deck and discard power for an attack event and add it to their hand, and shuffle until the end of each phase. Each attack event deals 1 additional damage. So I can search an attack event, and then if I do it on my Unleash the Nova Force turn, that will count as defeating a side scheme that will let me ready Nova and draw 1 card. So I think this will be a great addition for Nova. And then I have 3 copies of Fluid Motion, which just says after you play an attack event, discard this card. Your hero gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. And I have a bunch of attack events here because I have like 3, 6, 9 cheap attack events that I can use Fluid Motion for. And then I have 2 copies of Combat Training because Nova can 1 copy of Combat Training because I want to bring Nova's attack up because he gets those readies off. So increasing his base stat is going to be really valuable. So that goes along there. Martial Prowess is just a resource generator that, again, will help me pay for all of these cards here. And then that brings me into 2 allies that I chose. Angela, I think, is really cool for him because after Angela comes into play, 0-cost ally, you get to search top 10 cards of an encounter deck for a minion and put it in play, engage with you. And then when you get minions, you have more targets that you can just take out with Unleash the Nova Force. So I really like that combo. And then Wasp here, 3 attack at 0 cost. And then when I spend energy resources, I get to add PIM counters, increasing Wasp's hit points, which with all these wild resources I have, and also all these energy resources I have here, and here, and here, I'll be able to get her to 3 hit points pretty easy. And then she's also pretty on theme. It just feels because she's flying around and Nova's flying around, so I really like that. And then the last 2 allies I have are just Locust, because it's a champion ally, so I wanted to play the champions here. After the Locust enters play, add 1 aggression red event from your discard pile to your hand, so I can add these events to my hand. And then Moon Girl, because again, champion card, and I can really easily meet the mental resource requirements with my helmet and all these wild resources that I'm generating. And then the last 2 cards are just the Champion's Mobile Bunker, because it's, again, the vehicle that the champions fly around in. And then it allows you to choose an identity with the champion trait. The player who controls that identity may draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards from their hand. So it lets me find the cards I need for the situation. And then go for champions. 3 cost event, max 1 per deck. Play only if your identity has the champion trait. And it's a hero action. Each champion character in play cannot take damage until the end of the round, which is incredibly powerful. They actually had to errata this card to where after you play it, you remove it from the game, because Miss Nova could just, like, imagine you're playing like Ironheart and Nova and like Miles, and then you just keep looping this because it's every champion character. After you play an event, you can exhaust Miss Marvel and deal 1 damage to her to return that event to your hand. So you just can loop this card and then cause the entire table not to take damage. So they changed that to have to remove it from play now. And that's the deck. I am really looking forward to playing this, and I think this is the very first draft of it, so I haven't put too much thought into it, but this is going to be my very first playtest of it. Okay, I got everything ready. So we're using Drang with the standard into counter sets that he comes with. So we've got the Brother of Doom modular, Ship Command standard, and then the Band of Badoon modular. Brotherhood is his. And then the setup is to put the Badoon ship environment and the Milano support into play. So here's the Badoon ship environment. It says charge up special, place 1 barrage counter here. Then if there are 4 more barrage counters here, deal 2 indirect damage to each player and remove all barrage counters from here. And the Milano is a wild resource generator for me, which I'm really excited about that. This just seemed like the most fun matchup because he has a bunch of minions and side schemes in the deck, and then I get a wild resource generator, and then I want to deal with all that. And we're in space, which that was my whole goal, was to play a space hero. So now we can flip this. There's no one revealed. It starts with 2 threat per player, and it goes up by 2 per player every turn. So after resolving step 1 of the villain phase, resolve the Badoon ship's charge up ability. And then first player action is to exhaust the Milano, remove 3 threat from the scheme. I might be doing that a lot, actually, because this is an aggression deck. Drang says when revealed, if his spear isn't in play, search the encounter deck and discard power for his spear and reveal it, and then shuffle the encounter deck. Here it is. So reveal that. Drang gains Stalwart and +1 attack, and then I can spend a mental and 2 physicals to get rid of it. And now we can shuffle up Drang's deck. Okay, that should be good. And then for my deck, I gotta shuffle that up too. And since it's completely organized from that deck profile I just did, I'm going to do one of the dealing shuffles. Okay, now I'm ready to play. So I'm going to use, let me see if you can see this. Yeah, there we go. I like this D4 for the counters on it, so I'll use that. Now we can draw up our starting hand size. Okay, so I need to keep a wild resource generator, but I have a wild right here, so I don't have to worry about that. After the locust enters play, add an aggression card. Do I just keep this and do like a double pitchback? I mean, that sounds pretty nice. Yeah, and then the helmet can just pay for pot shot. Wait, no, or do I need one more? So if I spend the wild here, okay, I don't need, I have to do it like this. So I have to spend a wild here to get my helmet. my helmet comes into play and pays for pot shot. Right? And then, wait, no, and then I'm fine. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay. So I'll do my alter ego action now to spend 1 resource of any type to search my deck and discard power for the Supernova helmet and add it to my hand. So this is just a resource. Exhaust the Milano, generate a wild resource for any player. That'll be for me. So I'll search for my helmet now. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. So my helmet comes into play and is ready. And since I used the wild, I put it into play instead of adding to my hand because I used that wild resource. I think I'm just gonna blast drain here. Okay, so I'll flip up now, and then I'll use Supernova helmet to play pot shot. So this says attack superpower, double the number of wild resources generated while playing this card. So I used a wild there, so that's 4 damage to Drang. Bringing him down to 10. And now I can attack for 1. Bringing him down to 9. And then in response, after I use one of Nova's basic powers for attack or defense, ready the Supernova helmet. So that readies up. And then I also am still in the response window, so I can play 1 pitch back. I can actually play both pitch backs in this response window, because these say after your hero attacks, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So that deals 5. And then 5, taking out the first stage of Drang. Okay, now the third one comes out, and it says, when revealed, discard the top 4 per player cards of the encounter deck. Each time a minion is discarded this way, put it into play engaged with the player who is engaged with the fewest minions. So now okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's tough. Okay, so it says each time, right? So 1, 2. So now I have 3 minions. This one has retaliate 1. This one says after it engages you or activates against you, resolve the Badoon ship's charge up ability. So that adds a barrage counter there. And this one says patrol. You can't thwart the main scheme while it's out. That was scary. Okay, so there's 3 minions out engaged with me now that I gotta deal with. Maybe I shouldn't have flipped Drang so soon. I was just happy to do that much damage. Okay. So I'm actually gonna discard Locust here because there's so much damage out on the field. I'm really hoping to try to get one of my what is it called? I can't remember the defense card. I didn't get it. Okay. And this Drang has 18 health. Okay. Main scheme goes up by 2. And that places a barrage counter here, because after resolving step 1 of the villain phase, resolve the Badoon ship's charge up ability. Drang attacks me now, and I think I'll just take the damage here. 4, just 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, or 7, 8 damage, right? Or let's just do this in order. So if I take the 4, bring me down to 6. I'll have this one attack me. I take 2. I'll have this one attack me. I take 1. This one attacks me. And after it engages you or activates against you, resolve this charge up ability. So it brings that up to 3. Okay. Now it's my turn. So this is a little risky here. I think I'll start by playing Moon Girl using 1, 2, 3 resources. I'll spend them all as mentals. So Moon Girl comes out, and since I use 3 mentals, I get to draw 3 cards. Nice. Now, do I just put out Keep Up the Pressure? None of these have guard, right? None of them have guard. I might need to go to Alter Ego and recover here, right? Because it's 2 indirect damage. So my light speed flight could finish this, searching an attack event for me. 1 by 1. Or I could try and control the minions, right? Okay, so I'll have Nova attack the engineer for 1. That readies up my helmet. And I don't think... Am I going to be thwarting here? I don't think I'm going to be playing 2 1x1s this turn. So I'll play 1 1x1 using the other 1x1 as a resource. So I'll deal 2 damage to this one. That's 2, takes out the engineer. And then it did defeat an enemy, so I get to deal 2 damage to an enemy. I think that's all I'm going to do as far as that. I'm just going to deal the 2 to Drang here. I'll have Moon Girl attack Drang for 2. I can now play a pot shot for 4 damage. And I can put out Keep Up the Pressure. Player side scheme with 2 per player threat on it. Moon Girl also has 2 oh, these are damages. And then I will light speed flight. No, I'll just hold this in my hand because then I can finish it. Because I can't thwart because of the patrol. So I'll just use the Milano as a resource to remove 3 threat here. And that's not a thwart, so patrol doesn't stop it. Then I'll go to Alter Ego. Yeah, I'll go to Alter Ego now. I'm going to take 2 indirect damage, so I'll have to put 1 on Moon Girl and 1 on me. So I'll ready up. Drop to my hand size now. Oh, this triggers. It doesn't count towards my hand size, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I get 1 more. Okay, so now the main scheme goes up by 2. Drang schemes and that brings this up. Place 1 barrage counter here. Then if there are 4 or more, deal 2 indirect damage to each player and remove all barrage counters. So that takes out Moon Girl and deals 1 to me. Hindsight, I shouldn't have attacked with Moon Girl because I could have just let her take all the indirect damage, but I didn't choose to do that, so it's fine. And now Drang schemes for 3, 4, which finishes this. When revealed, resolve the charge up ability. And also, after Drang activates, resolve the Badoon Chip's charge up ability. Oh, wait, did I? I think I'm behind a counter. Because I think I forgot to do that when he first activated. Did I? I don't remember. I'm just going to add a counter. So, 2. Yeah, let's say I'm at 2 instead of 1. And then that's the same thing. It starts with 4 threat. And this guy schemes for 2. That guy schemes for 1. For 3. Bringing it to 7 of 8. And I get 1 encounter card. When revealed, exhaust the Milano, spend 2 mentals, or deal 3 damage to the first player. I will just exhaust the Milano. Okay. And I think I have it here, actually. So I'll flip up now. And now I'll spend a resource to play a light speed flight. Finishing, keep up the pressure. And then each player may search their deck and discard pile for an attack event, add that to their hand. I'll just go grab one of these pot shots. And then each attack event deals 1 additional damage this phase. Is it this phase? Yeah, until the end of this phase. So that resolves that. Oh, sorry. I forgot to play Unleash the Nova Force. So before I did that, I needed to play Champion's Mobile Bunker to do Unleash. Yeah, let me redo that turn. Sorry. I just forgot. Not that experienced at playing Nova. So this was out. And then I didn't have my pot shot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is where we're at. So first I need to play Unleash the Nova Force. So I'll use the Champion's Mobile Bunker to play this. Till the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, ready Nova and draw 1 card. So I will attack Drang for 1. And then use this to play Lightspeed Flight, removing 3 threat from here, which defeats the scheme and grabs my pot shot, and then readies me and my helmet, and draws me a card. Wait, sorry, not and the helmet. Readies Nova, and then my thing will get to draw it. So there we go. So I got that pot shot, and then I also get to draw a card. Okay. And now I will play Angela. Look at the top 10 cards in the card deck for a minion. Put it into play. I don't want to do that yet. Let's see what I've got going on here. So I'll attack for 1 more. And then that readies my helmet. I use my helmet to play Pot Shot, which deals 5. Bring Drang to 3 health. And then I can play Wasp, put 2 Pim counters on her by spending these 2 wilds as energies. And then Wasp can attack for 3, bringing Drang down to 0. So that was kind of a close one, but I just played that really risky. I also could have played Angela, right? Angela could have searched for a minion. Yeah, so Angela could have let me grab this grunt. And then Angela could have attacked for 2 as well. Yeah, that was the whole gameplay. That was really close. So I had 1 health, and this was 1 away from finishing. But I did play that extremely risky. But also, that feels kind of on theme for Nova. Like I really like the idea of just going in and having a really quick game with him and just flying around and dealing a bunch of damage. So I had a great time with that. I hope that you enjoyed the gameplay and the deck. I'm not exactly sure how I need to tweak it if I have to, because it kind of did exactly what I wanted it to, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, if you like the gameplay, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord, because I got a lot of stuff going on in there. The last gameplay video I did with Hawkeye was actually a viewer suggested gameplay. So if you want to get involved in like figuring out which gameplay I'm going to do on my channel for my next viewer gameplay, or just talk about Marvel Champions and have a good time, consider joining. And I think that's all I have for this video. So stay zesty, and I'll see you next time.